Is from the is senior talent acquisition partner at early for early careers. Hi, Jack. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. Very excited to be here this morning and to chat.
Well, we're very excited to have you. We actually do have, we've had confirmation from a couple of teachers already saying that they are broadcasting to entire schools. So it's very exciting.
No pressure then, eh?
Okay, so Jack, yes, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a bit about who you are and also what is Publicis Group?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Jack. I'm the Senior Talent Acquisition Partner in the Emerging Talent team at Publicis Group, which is a little bit of a mouthful of a job title, but effectively, me and my team, we look after all of the entry-level hiring into Publicis Group. So that could be an apprenticeship, it could be an internship, or it could be like a fully fledged, what we call executive, but like graduate or career changer type role. Publicis, if you haven't heard of us, we are one of the world's biggest advertising, media, communications agencies. So we're a global business in over 100 countries, but we work with massive, massive brands all over the world to help them shape their advertising strategies. And some of those brands that always stand out to me that I love us, the fact that we work with are the likes of Disney, McDonald's. We've recently won Sky, Lego. So there's some huge, huge brands that we work with. So yeah, super, super exciting company to come and potentially be part of.
Amazing. Yeah, no, sounds like you are working with the bigs, the big bigs.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so tell us a bit about the departments of Publicis because it is, like you say, massive and also it's global. And so I
Yeah.
can only imagine the variety of people and things that you need going on in order to make it work.
Yeah, I mean it is huge. I think like in the UK alone, which is where sort of I focus a lot of my attention for hiring, we've got over 6,000 people that work for Publicis Group or its many, many agencies. So Publicis Group's effectively like the holding company. And then within Publicis and within the group, we've got over 27 different agencies that all specialize in something slightly different. So some of them will focus like massively on like the media side of what we do. So media is all around sort of the strategic planning and buying of campaigns. So effectively, how can we take an ad that's been created and how can we get it in front of the right audience at the right time? So, for example, if we're doing a piece of work with Lego, for example, they might have a new range of products that's come out and they want to target a certain demographic. Our media teams would go away and they would understand all about who that audience actually is, and then what media channels do they consume their media on. So if it's a younger demographic, you can sort of assume social media is going to be huge. If it's an older demographic like 35 plus, then you'd maybe assume that more traditional media channels would be more appropriate. So we spend a lot of time there understanding who our audience is and how can we get that ad in front of them at the right time to ultimately get them to do something, which might be watch a video, subscribe to something, purchase a product. So that's really, really exciting work. That tends to really suit people that are a little bit more analytical and maybe sort of like enjoy data or trends or research. Like if you're quite numerically focused, media is often a career path that a lot of people hadn't considered, but it's really, really big for what we do at Publicis. So that's one area. It's probably the biggest area in terms of our entry level opportunities. Other areas that we also focus on in the world of advertising is I think when people think of advertising, we default to the creative, the sort of the production, the PR side. And we've got tons and tons of agencies that do amazing work in that part of the business as well. So if you're somebody that actually you are more of an ideas person, or you might be someone that's maybe a bit more of a people person at heart as well, then actually a route into like a creative account management is an amazing, amazing career path. So that would basically be helping to shape the creation and the production of the adverts that we see. So for example, if we're watching live TV and it cuts to a commercial break and there's an ad, there will have been a creative account management team behind that ad. They would have worked with the art directors, the copywriters to bring everything to life and then go and work with. We've got some in-house production teams who would actually do live big TV shoots, capture all that footage, get back into our office where our editing suites are, use CGI animation, a whole world of tools there to then sort of create that final ad that we would see. So if you are someone that sort of naturally is more leaning towards that side of this sector, there's some amazing career paths there. And honestly, I could talk for hours and hours and hours, but I know we're tight for time about all the different paths. But in my opinion, the beauty of advertising and Publicis Group is whoever you are as an individual and whatever your natural sort of strengths and interests are, there is a section that is available for you to go and have an amazing career in. So, yeah, I think there's often a misconception that you've got to be a designer or you've got to be something, but actually there are so many paths available.
Yeah, and that's so important for all the people at school, specifically
Yeah,
watching, and that they need to know because you might already have written off yourself as like, oh, I'm not creative, so therefore creative industry is not for me. Not the case. Not the
100%.
Also, Jack, I really want to quickly just chat
Mm,
about your hiring process because you are
yes.
one of the leading examples of an alternative hiring process, and it's so innovative. And I believe that's the way the world is going, right? So
Yeah.
tell us a bit about how you hire people.
Yeah, sure. So we've moved away from the traditional CV and cover letter approach because our view is that just that doesn't work anymore. It's outdated. And if we're speaking completely honestly, everyone chucks their CV into ChatGPT or uses AI and all CVs look the same. And what we want from our recruitment process is to really understand everybody as an individual. What are your strengths? What are your interests? And what are your motivations? So we've actually moved away from that. And what we do is we ask people to answer a couple of intent-based questions at the start. So typically those questions are usually, why do you want a career in advertising? And why do you want to come and join Publicis Groupe? They'll sometimes vary a little bit based on the nature of the role, but overall, that's usually what it is. That's sort of part one. And then part two of the application is then to complete an online assessment tool, which is basically psychometric and behavioral testing. So we partner with this amazing tech company called Arctic Shores. So you would receive an email from them. You'd click through it, and it would bring you basically to their platform, which is all gamified behavioral and psychometric testing. So it's not filling a questionnaire in about yourself or anything like that. You will be completing a series of online games, which how you sort of do and how you perform during that assessment, we're able to measure your key innate strengths. So, are you somebody that's good with processing? Are you someone that can adapt? Are you somebody that's good at interacting? There's a whole range of skills that we're looking for. And I think that's the important thing because our whole process now for our entry level hiring is designed to focus on skills, not on experience. We want to know what's your current innate natural skill set and what's your potential, not what have you done. In a nice way, we don't care what you've done. We want to get to know you. So you'd complete this this online tool. Once you've finished it, you would receive your own personalized report on what your key strengths are. And then if you're successful at that, plus the intent questions, we would then bring you forward. We'd have a really, really informal screening call with you to just sort of talk a little bit more about you and give you more information about the role and then bring you into one of our assessment centres. So it might feel very, very different to some of you who are used to CVs and having to tailor it every single time and change your approach to what you're writing. But we've just decided to rip up how that's done, do it completely differently. And we're seeing massive, massive success from it so far. I think the thing that's the most sort of warming from all of this is that candidates have told us this process is great. Like we enjoy this versus the CV route. So I think it's really great because it's different. But I also think, again, if you're somebody like me, that when I started out, I found it really difficult to write CV and a cover letter and like, how do I actually articulate my strengths, my skills? This process will allow you to do all of that.
Amazing. And do you think that this, I'm sure, just to say now, I'm sure that there's a million careers people watching right now who are like, wow, okay, that is really different to the way
Yeah,
we're used to it. But this is, there are more companies, more and more companies who are adopting this kind of method. It's
yeah,
a lot more authentic from both sides. That's what we hear.
100%.
So do you think that there are more organizations, not just in your space, but across the board using this?
Yeah, it's definitely shifting to that. I think that a massive issue that a lot of employers have got, not just in advertising and the creative sector, is that there's a lot of people that are applying for a lot of jobs, and we want to be able to give everybody feedback. And it's like realistically, if there were 10,000 people apply for a job and they all sent their CVs, it would take us months and months and months to go through all of that. Whereas this process, you get instant feedback in real time on what your strengths are. And that's so important for us. We want every candidate to get that. So yes, I think that it's a massive trend. I think you'll see a lot more companies this year that will shift to that approach. And just the last thing to mention on this one, the thing that I think is so important is that this testing, it basically is assessing your suitability for the specific role you've gone for. So it's not a pass or fail assessment. It's a, are you like your natural skill set aligned to the success that's needed for this role? So actually, if you don't get through the process, that's not you're not a brilliant candidate. Actually, it's you're naturally not suited to do this role. So I think it helps guide candidates as well figure out what is the right career path. Because let's face it, in advertising, thousands of career paths to go down, right? And it can be hard to navigate what's right for you. But this process will, to a certain extent, help you figure out what is the right path for you as well.
Yeah, that's a nicer no, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's softer and it's, okay, you're naturally not, perfect for this one, but you would be great for this kind of thing.
exactly.
Make sure you keep the questions coming in, guys, because I'm sure everyone has a lot of questions for you, Jack, and your hiring process. I feel like I've opened a can of worms there, unfortunately. Okay, so how can the young people now watching, obviously most of them are at school, start gaining skills and knowledge to help get a foot in the door of, the advertising industry?
Great question. I think the biggest thing, if you apply for any job at any point, is you will always in advertising be asked, like, what's your why? Why do you want this role? Why do you want this company? Like, what is it about this position? And it takes time to figure that out, if I'm completely honest with you. So I would say if you're in a position where you're at school or you're still studying, try and research yourself around what the different career paths are within the sector, but that can be quite hard to do. So we, for example, we offer every month just a completely free webinar for everybody. If you just want to hop on and learn more about what the different career paths may look like, I think resources like that really help you figure out. It might not help you figure out straight away what you definitely do want, but it will help you figure out what career paths you don't want. And sometimes that's a really good starting point. So I would say any resources like that that are available from employers that are free online sort of learning or webinars where you can just listen, the more you can take in at an early stage, definitely the better, because like I said, it does take a bit of time to figure out what career path is best for you.
I think that you are sharing so much honest advice here. It's so great. Thank you so much for this. Okay, and obviously, the final question, because we only have a couple
Yeah.
of minutes left. Do you have any programs, initiatives, or schemes coming up this year? And also, are they only in London or are they anywhere else?
Yep, we definitely do have a lot of stuff coming up. So again, we operate a little bit different from a lot of employers where we are always on in terms of our hiring. So depending on where you're at, if you are at school or if you're at university or if you're already in employment somewhere else, we've got different routes available for each person. So the three biggest entry routes that we've got is the first one is our like executive route, which is traditionally for our graduates or our career changers. So basically, if you're looking for a full-time permanent job in the industry, our executive roles are the best thing for you to be applying for. For those positions, we are always recruiting. There isn't a day that goes by where we don't have roles live. So you don't have to apply for the majority of roles at certain points in the year for that. It's basically when you're a couple of months away from being able to start, that's when you should kickstart your application. So that's sort of your first route. Your second route in is apprenticeships. So if you're somebody, on this call today and you're not sure about university and like what are the alternative routes. And one thing I would say is you don't need a degree to work in advertising. I've worked in advertising 10 plus years. I went via an apprenticeship route. You don't need one. But if that's a route you're considering, we typically hire in September for our apprenticeships. So we're not live at the moment, but we will be live within the next sort of couple of months for a big intake in September. We run a combination of level 3 and level 4 courses for that. And lastly, we've got our internship program, which runs in the summer. So we're already sort of filled for this year. But if you're thinking about next summer, a potential internship from July through to September, our applications for that will open towards the end of the year. So they're your three sort of main routes into the business.
Amazing. What a comprehensive overview. And yeah, love to hear that you are doing things all year round. That's an amazing thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, what a fantastic business. Okay, guys, questions, keep them coming in. Jack, unfortunately, we've run out of time, which is a shame. But guys, keep the questions coming because we will be sending all of your questions to the speakers afterwards for them to answer in a non-rushed way. So they can take their time about it. Jack, I feel like you are such an amazing force of like change in this space.
Thank you.
Such a thought leader. And it's so fantastic to see not just, like you're practicing what you preach, which I think is fantastic. And that is an amazing, and quite an unusual thing to see, to be honest. So guys, keep an eye on Jack. He's, implementing all of the best changes and everyone else is going to follow. We have questions coming in now. So thank you so much.